Kia ora, good evening. Fonterra has announced a better than predicted return to farmers, despite some parts of the country suffering the worst drought in 70 years. The cooperative group has told farmers they can expect a cash payout of $6.16 for the 2013 year, comprising a farm gate milk price of $5.84 per kilogramme of milk solids and a share dividend of 32 cents per share. Fonterra Chairman John Wilson says the payout was higher than forecast at the beginning of the season, but was down 4% on the previous year. The extremely dry conditions meant a drop in New Zealand milk production of 9% in the last 6 months of the season. Voting papers should have arrived in letterboxes around the city for October's local body elections. The first voting papers should have been received last Friday and the rest over subsequent days. If you haven't received your voting papers by today, you'll be required to cast a special vote. Invercargill Electoral Officer Graham Lowe says those wishing to cast a special vote must call into either the Invercargill Civic Council Civic Administration Building on Esk Street or the Bluff Service Centre. Mr Lowe reports that 3,500 votes have already been returned, or 9.4% of the 38,000 papers distributed. Invercargill City Councillor Carolyn Dean is not seeking re-election this time round, opting to contribute from outside council. She reviewed her 3 years around the City Council table.
Now, you were almost Deputy Mayor. Tim Shabot preferred you as Deputy Mayor to replace Jackie Kruger.
Yeah.
How did that feel after 18 months?
It was a huge honour and it was a huge high, and I would have absolutely relished it. So I think I was ready for it. I had the background, I've had a lot of experience in council already. I was chairing the biggest committee in council. I felt that I probably would have complimented Tim in that role, sort of backed him up and done a whole lot of things to sort of grow confidence around the council table and to do projects in the city and that sort of thing. So it was a great honour and it was a big disappointment not to get it.
Let's talk about that chair of the Infrastructure and Services Committee. What sort of undertaking was that? Did you know what you were headed in for when you were appointed?
I had an idea because I spent 3.5 years working for council and I was in that directorate, so I knew a lot of the staff, I knew a lot of the functions of the directorate, and I understood the political dynamics. And chairmanship is really, I think a lot of it is about facilitation, and it's about looking into the potential risks in a situation and sort of trying to fix them and be prepared for them before they happen. And so I think a lot of those dynamics I already sort of had going in what I already do. So I didn't expect to be the chairman of infrastructure, and it probably was just a fluke that it happened, and I think everybody thought that I wouldn't be able to do it because we had a new director of works and services as well. So I think the expectation was that I would just fall flat. But I think I was able to pull it off, and a lot of that's down to the past experience of working with council.
I have to ask then, why are you not running this time?
Well, I think I realised about midway into the term, Jackie Kruger left at that point, and that did change the dynamic around the table. And I just started to, as the term...
What, into a male-dominated environment? Or?
No, I think that Jackie was just really progressive in the way that she was thinking. She had a finger on the pulse of everything, and she pulled in people, and she was very she consulted a lot, and she brought in a lot of people, and I think we felt like we were sort of in a very forward moving kind of a council. And when she left, and when you lose someone who's had their finger on the pulse of everything like that, it's quite hard to keep the continuity going. So I think the energy just sort of dropped off a bit. And then when I didn't get Deputy Mayor, that was really disappointing, and I would have really relished the challenge.
You would have stayed if you were Deputy Mayor now?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because that would have been something I really grit my teeth into, and to sort of move on and have a lot more impact than what you can as a standard councillor. So yeah, I would have definitely stayed on if that was something that I could really focus on.
And we'll have more from Councillor Dean tomorrow night. New Zealand has posted its largest balance of trade deficit ever for the month of August. The balance of traded goods for the month was in deficit to the tune of $1.2 billion, 47% larger than August 2012. August is traditionally a month when the country's balance of trade is in deficit, with an August trade surplus last seen in 1991. Imported goods value rose 9.7% to $4.5 billion. If one-off purchases are excluded, the month of August 2013 would be the highest ever for goods coming into the country. And the value of exported goods showed little change, up $19 million to $3.3 billion. Stay with us. After the break, the connection between starlings and tractor fires. Welcome back. Farmers are being urged to check for starling nests in machinery as farm activity increases. Starlings are renowned for building nests with rapid speed inside tractors, machinery or sheds, which can ignite and spark fires that spread easily on the farm, according to Sally Chesterfield of the Southern Rural Fire Service.
Starlings can drag in a lot of nesting material, a lot of dry straw, a lot of dry material they find around the place, and they can build a nest in 15 minutes. The time it takes to have a cup of tea, stop for a break, they'll build a nest, and if we don't check our machinery before we start it up again, it can cause some problems.
Is this something that farmers should be doing every time they're stopping?
Yeah, it's as important as checking your fuel, your water, and everything else, because you can lose your tractor or other machinery because of these birds.
So they ignite once the tractor starts up again and they don't?
Yep, it's very easy for the material to light on a hot engine and for the rest of the tractor to be engulfed in the fire as well.
Which potentially can spread?
It can spread, yeah. Often for us these fires are recorded as vegetation fires or building fires, shed fires, because they end up being bigger than just the tractor.
How many are you dealing with normally in a season?
It does vary depending on the season. Last summer or last spring there were 14 tractor fires across Southland.
So you do have some tips for farmers about how they can mitigate this problem?
Yeah, regular maintenance of your machinery along with checking oil, water, make sure you're checking those nests. Stop and pop your lid, make sure the lid of your tractor is open. Open areas are areas that the starlings won't nest in, so if you've got your lid open they won't be dragging material in there. And carrying a fire extinguisher on board, a big fire extinguisher, because once a fire gets established in a tractor, you do need a big extinguisher to put it out, so at least a 9 kg extinguisher.
Insurance provider FMG have created a tractor fire campaign to bring awareness to the issue, and says Southland tractor fire claims have cost FMG just over $210,000 in the last 3 years.
Reckon he'll check when he gets back?
Don't be silly. They never do, eh?
What'd you put in there?
Oh, just your standard issue highly flammable starling nest.
In 2010 to 11, FMG received 17 tractor fire-related claims in Southland. In 2011 to 12, that reduced to 10, and in 2012 to 13, this reduced further to 8. This compares nationally with a drop from 66 tractor fire claims in the 2010 to 11 season to 39 in the 12 to 13 season. The grass is now greener at the bowling green of the Rowena Jackson Retirement Village in Invercargill. After removing the original turf, it's been repacked with crusher dust glued with silicone before white felt was laid and stitched. The top layer of green weave was laid today, ready for a tournament in a few weeks' time. The green is used year-round by residents and family and required replacing due to wear and tear. The original artificial green was built in 1999 and the resurfacing has cost close to $160,000. The recent revelation that 25% of residents living within the Southland District Health Board drink alcohol hazardously is a wake-up call, according to Medical Officer of Health Dr Marion Poor. She says alcohol consumption in the South is a serious health issue.
Project Ease Up is a response that the emergency departments in the Southern District Health Board have developed in conjunction with Public Health South, really as a way of responding to an increasing problem of hazardous drinking in our community. And the idea behind this is to identify those who are drinking hazardously and then offer them support and places to go to in order to address that particular issue.
Levels of hazardous drinking in the south are among the highest in the country.
About 25% of people who live in the Southern District Health Board area drink in a hazardous way, and this clearly has a significant impact not only on those people and their families and our wider community, but also on the way in which our health services need to respond to those kinds of situations.
As a result, emergency departments are increasingly dealing with alcohol-related issues.
A lot of it is can be younger people, but it also extends to the older age group as well. And, while probably previously in the past we used to see a lot of it on the Friday and the Saturday night, now we commonly see it at any time of the day. It can be 10 o'clock in the morning, it can be 5 o'clock at night. And often when I work on a Sunday, the whole day will have alcohol-related incidences, whether it's through injuries, car accidents, lacerations. So we see a wide variety of presentations really, and it has a big impact on our ED.
She says gathering consumption information through Project Ease Up is helping to paint a clearer picture.
We're asking people how much they drink, so for women it's if they've had more than 4 drinks, and for men if they've had more than 6. And then we just go on to define whether they've had hazardous drinking or not. So every person who presents to the ED and who will probably be here for more than 3 hours will be asked this question. It's the same as for smoking. And we're just trying to put an emphasis about education and promoting wellbeing in the community.
Dr Paul says education on its own is not enough to change behaviour in a sustainable way, and says change is needed in the community environment.
Licensing laws, availability, hours in which you can purchase alcohol, who is legally able to purchase alcohol, the age at which people can purchase, cost, advertising.
She encourages communities to make their views known to national and local politicians to ensure alcohol access is sensible. Margot Sutherland, South Today News.
And that's all from us this Wednesday. Sport is along next from the news team. Good night.